to 35 last night. It was a thriller. KC had a late fumble with a chance to take the lead, and Lamar iced the game with a fourth down run. It was Lamar's first victory over his fellow former MVP, Patrick Mahomes, in 4 attempts. And afterwards, Jackson said, quote, "It feels good to get that monkey off our back." Agree. Shannon, on Friday, you thought KC was going to win big, so how surprised were you that Lamar was able to lead the Ravens to a comeback win over his rival?
I'm not as surprised, Skip. I thought the Ravens would get to 35 points. Remember, that was the score I predicted, but I thought they would blow the Ravens out, considering all the injuries with Ronnie Stanley.
Wait, you thought?
Not the Ravens, Kansas City.
Kansas City would get to 35. I got it.
Kansas City would get to 35, and they would blow the Ravens out, considering all the injuries that they had.
Right.
They were moving Bill in the waiver from right tackle back to left tackle.
35-17. Okay.
Yes. Skip, for me, and I've gone over this several times before, the key to beating the Chiefs, time of possession, 36-24. You got to steal a possession. Even though Mahomes threw an interception earlier, it was at the end of the game, that possession with Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he fumbled the football. You also need, Skip, you need your best player to be your best player. And that's what he was last night. He was their best player. Skip, look, you look at it, after he threw his second interception, he was 15 of 19 for 215, a touchdown, 87 rush yards, 2 touchdowns. Skip, you normally when a quarterback goes 24-31 for 340, whatever he went for, 2 touchdowns, and score 35 points, you're like, man, we walking out here with a victory.
Yep.
But not the Chiefs. Give Baltimore credit because they made timely plays. Mahomes made the one fatal mistake, Skip. They're up 11 points. There's no need, and that's when you need to understand, Skip. I get it. I don't ever want to take what makes him great, take that away from him, which is his ability to improvise and do things that are unorthodox. But in that situation, that wasn't the time nor the place to try what he tried by going down, flipping the ball, and he gets picked off. You give them a short field. Sometimes you got to live to play another day. Know when the journey's over, punt the football away, gave them a short field, gave them some life because they were doing a great job up until that point. So for me, Skip, who had the ball last? Lamar did what he needed to do. They couldn't stop him, Skip. I'm surprised, and what I'm starting to see is the Chiefs' defense this year is starting to look like the Chiefs' defense from Mahomes' first year. That first year, Skip, they were 24th in scoring D, 31st in yards. This year, they're 27th in scoring D, they're last in yards. And even Patrick Mahomes playing at an ungodly level, I don't know what it's hard to overcome that. He's done a great job of masking just how poorly that defense is. Aaron Rodgers, over years, have done a job of masking how poorly his defense played. But, Skip, I want to give Lamar credit. See, I don't have a problem. I think Lamar is phenomenal. My only problem with him is consistency. And what did we see last night? Skip, this was as consistent as he's ever been. Lamar Jackson won an MVP unanimously. It's hard for me to go back and look at his games and say he played any of those games any better than what he played last night, given the magnitude and the stage in which he was on. He was sensational.
I cannot tell you how much I agree with your last line because I have believed in this young man a little more than you have over the time we've been together. Mm-hmm. What I love the most about Lamar Jackson was on full display last night. He will fight you to the death. His competitive backbone is as strong as any I have ever seen. And we got to see him compete at the highest level with his nemesis, with his, as he said the last time he lost Mahomes, his kryptonite. Mm-hmm. And he knew it. And if you had told me that he would get off to the start he got off to and overcome it, I would have laughed because you cannot do this even at home against Patrick Mahomes. You cannot do what he did to start with, which was, if we could see the tape, please, he overthrows Hollywood Brown. He's got him for a touchdown. This would have just rocked the house. This would have brought the house down. This is the second play of the game, and he just airmails him by a good 5 yards.
Right.
And at least he overthrew him, but then there comes the pick. and it's to, you know who it is. Honey Badger's back from COVID, and he takes it all the way home, as he often does. Mm-hmm. And then here we go again, and he throws another one.
That's in the triple coverage.
I know. It's just a bad idea. It was bad from the start. It had no chance to little Marquise Brown. He's a little guy, and he's triple covered. So here we go.
Overthrow.
That's a touchdown if you hit him in stride.
Right.
And that's again. I thought Sammy Watkins slipped a little bit on the play, but still, it's just not a good idea. And the other one's a really bad idea.
This is his worst decision of the night.
Okay. If I had told you going into the game that that's how he would start, you know what you would have said. It's a rout.
Blowout.
Yeah, it's at least 35-17, if not worse.
Yeah.
Because what do we always say about Lamar and company in the offense? It's not built to come back, especially on Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, who were just both sensational for much of the night. And the first touchdown pass that Mahomes threw kind of crossed his body to Demarcus Robinson in the back of the end zone, if we could see that. This is like, it's a gamble. It's a little bit of Mahomes at his best and his worst. He just kind of flips it sidearm, falling sideways, and he got away with it because it was on the money against their remaining best corner, who could not quite get there. Marlon Humphrey just couldn't quite get there, and Demarcus Robinson hauls it in. And when you're doing that, I'm thinking he's unconscious. And then if we could see the other touchdown in the third quarter to Kelsey, this is like too good on both because it's a rollout. If we see he escapes and he flings it to Kelsey, who somehow gets loose from 4 Ravens. And he's going, and he's going, and he beats another one, and he's going, and he beats another one, and he beats another one, and takes another one in the end zone. That is like all-pro, all-world Shannon Sharp, right? That's a Hall of Fame
And that's
play.
what I told him. Only a handful of tight ends in the history of the game could have made this play.
could make that play.
Yeah.
And only a handful of quarterbacks would even try to make the throw that Mahomes made going to his right. Because he sort of underhands it, sidearms it to the guy he trusts beyond anybody in the world.
Right.
He must trust him more than he does his own parents. You know, like this is his soul connection.
And his third touchdown with Pringle was very similar.
It was very similar, but when he hit Kelsey for that, that's 6:50 to go in the third, and it is 35-24 visiting team. And I thought, Lamar, you just went 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes, and here he came fighting the way you will rarely see a quarterback fight, because this quarterback can do it both ways. He can beat you with his arm, which we see. He won an MVP often with his arm.
Right.
Like you've question is consistent accuracy.
Right.
But he did win the MVP.
Yeah.
And when push comes to shove, literally, when it becomes a street fight, he will just say, I will beat you with my legs.
Right.
And I love our man Michael Vick, but I have never seen anything like this man running the football.
It's crazy.
Because he's so much bigger than Michael and so much more physical than Michael. And again, I don't know how many years he's got playing football the way he's playing it, but he didn't really put himself in terrible harm's way.
Right.
I didn't see him get into a situation where I thought, oh, Lamar, that took a year off your career, right?
Right.
But
he's doing a better job of getting down and getting out of bounds. Occasionally last night, he tried to run somebody over. I was like, Lamar, you don't need to do that.
Okay. But he's just trying to get them back in the game. And here he came. And the 2 touchdown runs, if we could just see him back to back.
Right.
The first one is on 51 that the guy, what's his name? Donnan. I don't know him, 51, but he just beats him to the edge. And then here's the somersault. And again, he said he fell on his butt. He was kind of embarrassed by what he did. But again, I wouldn't do that at that point because you had not won the game yet.
Right.
You could do it if that were a walk-off play. I'd be fine with it, but I was afraid, no, because he threw the ball up in the air, and it felt like we just won. No, you haven't won yet.
Correct.
You got a long way to go because the other guy's going to get the ball, and you know what's probably going to happen.
You know what normally happens when a team falls behind like that? Is that it's because they can't run the football. They have no choice but to throw it.
Yep.
But if you look at the Ravens, Skip, you look at what they finished with.
Yeah.
They were running the ball all night. It was like, I'm like,